beat back the darkness. And there are like alliances and people that are good and decent and honest, and there are armies and groups that are fighting for the right, like true causes and are good people. 40k is, you have to remember that 40k is the origin of the term grimdark, right? Like 40k is a grimdark universe. And the definition of grimdark is, like, to put it simply, is a universe that sucks. Like, there is no hope in 40k. Like, that's kind of the point. There are no good guys. There is no hope. Everything sucks, and regardless of who wins, everyone loses. And like, even if someone did come out a winner, it would still suck. There are no heroes. Like, which is funny because 40k is not as grimdark as it used to be. I would still say it's grimdark because like even though like the universe is like kind of introducing some hopeful concepts, at the same time the universe seems like way more in a shitty situation than it was originally, due to the whole Chaos Rift situation. But you know, ignoring that, okay, so this is one of the only mods I have, chat, which fixes the Quaddle. So it actually has a serpentine draconic head instead of the stupid bird beak. It's literally one of the only mods I'm running. And what a glorious mod it is. Oh god, Tomb King shooting hurts. Charge! Let's just get in there. Everyone else will catch up. All right, here comes the part where we spike the Tomb King in the face. Give some melee damage reflection. Everything charge! Everything charge! Just go, 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 go. I need your ass over here. You kill, or come fight these nerds. Ah! Birds! Look out! Okay, Tomb King's dead. Rest of the army should follow suit pretty quickly. Is 40k possible with Total War? Yes, absolutely, I believe so. Oh, anyways, I got distracted. But yeah, like the 40k universe, like, and I don't think Games Workshop actually necessarily likes this aspect about their universe, but like the way they introduce the concept of grimdark and like the textbook definition of grimdark, like as a trope, is that there is no hope. Like it is a universe that it's super sucky, like, and it will always suck. That is a core concept of it. Like even the Imperium are not actually good. Like Games Workshop would have to do so much rewriting that they don't want to do. Like I kind of like to make fun of Games Workshop on this, but Games Workshop with 40k really feels like lately they're trying to have their cookie and eat it too, in that they keep kind of trying to treat the Imperium as if it is the good guy, while also still having all the lore about how it is like this absolutely horrible, nightmarish empire that if it actually existed really in any universe, they would undoubtedly be the villains. Like they are so horribly evil that I am personally of the opinion that it would be better for humanity to be wiped out, because there would be just like the amount of suffering that the Imperium causes is not worth it. Like it's so bad. It is a hideous, like horrible monstrosity that treats human life in like with such obnoxious amounts of cruelty that it's laughable. Like that, like a lot of people think like, oh, Sotek just likes the Tyranids because like he likes the aesthetic. No, I like the Tyranids because I think the Tyranids are genuinely the good guys. Like, or the closest thing to it. Like the Tyranids, they're not actively evil. They're just like basically a predator that is doing what it does to survive. But at least it like is actively, it doesn't waste anything and assimilates everything into itself. Whoa, I didn't know they buffed Kroq-Gar's things to give him unique goodies. What? I thought these only gave buffs against these factions. Some of them actually give like different buffs. Immune to contact effects? How the fuck does Kroq-Gar have immune to contact effects, but Tehinuin doesn't? Unless maybe they snuck that in somewhere else. What are the other fun ones? Enemy reinforcements take longer? And devastating flanker. Well, that's fucking badass. Yeah, give me the enemy reinforcements take longer. That's gonna be amazing. I had no idea they did that. Well, damn. No, I did not know that. That is definitely 100% the first time I've ever seen that. Like, I knew they updated his Lord effects. I didn't know they updated his unique skill tree. But Tehinuin and Ogre Butchers and Ogre Slaughtermasters still don't have immune to contact effect, and they need it. It's literally part of their tabletop rules. I think Tower pretty good. The Emperor had good intentions. I don't think the Emperor had good intentions at all. Like, I think the Emperor, from the Emperor's perspective, had good intentions, but I think there's no way what the Emperor was like ultimately planning would have panned out great. Like, the Emperor was such like an incompetent father, and like also created an entire race of like super beings. Like I don't know, the Emperor was like so absolutely awful when it comes to like understanding humanity. Like he's basically a big alien that decided that he's close enough related to humans that he was going to make them his star darlings, and anything that was not a star darling, he just like completely and utterly obliterated it. And he also like lies to everyone for reasons. What are contact effects? Contact effects are contact effects caused by like contact from a weapon. So the discourage effect, poison, flaming attacks, stuff that cause like debuffs on contact. Like, but no, like I completely reject the notion that the Emperor was anything but an absolute like fascist dictator who strongly believed his way or the highway, and he will happily commit unspeakable atrocities to get whatever he wants. He's a petulant child. Like the Emperor is a terrible, he is a monstrosity that should be fought against at all cost. So the Empire in Warhammer Fantasy is not evil? No, they're humans. Like, they do their best to be good people, but they make mistakes. And there have been good emperors and bad emperors, but they're just normal humans. Like, they are us, which is what I love so much about, like, that's one of the best aspects of Warhammer Fantasy, is that you have races that are literally just us. Like, obviously they have a couple of fantastical elements, but it is so relatable. Like, that's why the Empire, I think, tends to be a lot of people's favorite factions. It's literally just average Joes. Like, they've got a couple of big cool guys backing them up, but for the most part, it's really just normal people who go through pretty rigorous training and have used, you know, technology, you know, steel, faith, and gunpowder to hold out against horrible monstrosities. But like, their lives for the most part are still valuable. They have families, they have homes they came from. Most of them have people that care for them. And like, they are fighting because they want to. The vast majority of the time, they're protecting something. The Empire of Warhammer Fantasy is not a meat grinder like the Imperial Guard is in 40K. You know, the Imperial Guard is the closest thing to like actual humans, because, you know, they are actual humans, except for not really. They're less than. The Imperial Guard is more like the Skaven, where it's just like limitless hordes where no one, with very minor exceptions, no one matters. You know, it's horrible and awful and embraces like kind of the more realistic realities of war, where there is nothing honorable, there's nothing, you know, really good about it. It just sucks all around. It just sucks. You don't want to be there. You would, like, nobody, I don't think anybody in their right mind would want to be an Imperial Guardsman, because you're basically just on a chopping block. But like the modern Empire of Warhammer Fantasy, no, they're not evil. They're actually pretty good and noble for the most part. There are some bad people in the Empire, but most people are just trying to get by, and there are a number of awesome people who are actually trying to make the world a better place, whether that's through fighting chaos or just trying to make the Empire better and more stable. You know, you have the likes of like Karl Franz. I would say Karl Franz is like a good man. He's just a good man. What about the Tau? I don't really know enough about the Tau to really be able to answer that faithfully, I think. I've only read like little bits and pieces, but I do remember that I think going into it was going into the what was that event? Psychic Awakening. I remember during the Psychic Awakening, they published a short story about the Tau that was meant to show that, like, no, everyone in 40K sucks. Because I remember the whole point of the short story was basically that the Tau had, like, gotten some allies inside of, like, an Imperial, like, world or colony or whatever. And they like met up with their human allies in order to fight against the Imperium to try and take this world like by force or whatever. And the Tau end up like massacring all of the human allies they had, because they're not Tau, they're just, you know, they're humans. And because they weren't like truly embracing the greater good, or maybe it was because they viewed it as like being part of the greater good, they like end up murdering the shit out of all these people that were helping them. Which was like, oof, okay. And I don't think it's canon anymore, but I still always remember playing the oh gosh, Dawn of War titles, and like you find out that the Tau are like forcefully making it where like the humans can't have children, so that like, you know, they'll just sort of like fade out. Which it's like, yikes, that's a big yikes. But I also feel like the ethereals seem very sterilizing. Thank you. I will say the ethereals do seem very suspicious. Like, the ethereals definitely seem like they are bad guys. Like, they are absolutely villains. What are the ethereals? I don't know. All I know is they're like an additional race. Like, I don't even know if they're part of the mainline Tau or if they're a different race of Tau. But they're like the big guys in charge. The ethereals are like at the top of the Tau. They make all the rules and stuff. But the whole thing with like Commander Farsight is that Commander Farsight broke away from the ethereals rule and has gone renegade. And that's like a whole thing going on right now. Isn't there like a really strong rumor that Farsight's supposed to be getting a new model in 10th edition? I think I've heard Valrak talk about that. Like, Farsight seems like he's a pretty cool character. Like, Farsight seems like he might have the potential to be like a genuine good guy, but in the same breath, he also wields a demon weapon, doesn't he? Like, doesn't he actually wield a demonic weapon? Which, you know, I don't think you get to use one of those and still have any claim to being like, I'm a good guy. Like, I'm not gonna totally fuck this up. Like, sooner or later. Oh, it's a Catan weapon. Oh, okay. I kept hearing he had a demon sword. I didn't know it was a Catan weapon. The Catan were definitely massive dicks, but they at least seem like controllable massive dicks. Like, they're vaguely god level power, but they seem like their big thing is that they're mostly just selfish assholes. He doesn't know about it. Well, listen, I say this with love, but at least in Warhammer Fantasy, it doesn't matter if you know what you're using is Chaos Tainted or not. It's either Chaos Tainted or it isn't. And if it's Chaos Tainted, it's not going to end well. It's always going to end poorly, even if you use it with the best of intentions. That's like the whole point of the prologue in Warhammer 3. If I had to add one thing from 40k and AOS into Fantasy, what would they be? If I could add one thing from 40k into Fantasy, it would definitely be Tyranids. Like, obviously, I would adjust them significantly to make them fit the universe a bit better. No, Itza died? Oh, damn. That sucks. Rip Gorok. That's okay. I'm not really big into the whole Legendary Lord Pokemon anyway. Okay, the Golden Tower is back in our control, which is great. Even if it's really small, which makes me sad. Tyranids are just Skaven. I disagree. I think that based on what I think they're going to do with them, I actually think the Naga of Koresh are going to be more like the Tyranids. But we don't really have a more insectoid themed race. And that's kind of one of the biggest fantasy tropes that we're missing. We don't really have a bug people race, and I would really like a bug people race. From Age of Sigmar, the thing I would probably bring over, I mean, I would be pretty, I would do some significant rewrites, but I want fishmen. I want fish people. So I would probably take the Idneth Deepkin and like heavily rewrite them to get rid of all the elf shit and then put them in Fantasy as fish people. Though, if I was not allowed to do that, if I had to take like a race wholesale, I would take Night Haunt. I think Night Haunt would fit perfectly in fantasy and would be super fun. Like Night Haunt to me are like they feel very appropriate for Warhammer Fantasy because they're not too extreme. Aren't they just undead mostly, but ghosts? Yes, what's your point? So I would like more spooky ghost units. What are you gonna sue me? I don't have military access with you, and that's going to cause a problem because you're like surrounding me, you little shit. I guess I can go up and around. That'll be the best thing to do. Yeah, I need to head back here so I can recruit some new goodies. Outpost available? Well, I don't think either of these are major settlements. So I imagine they're going to all die very soon. But I guess I could try and make an outpost in the Bone Gulch. Because if he could get some lads to help him, that might stabilize him a bit. I could head across the coast to the islands. That might actually be good. Like, if Tic-Tac-Toe's got this under control, there's no reason for me to stay here. Kimmler is much more about whites than he is about anything else. I'm really not sure why they made him... Like, I guess I understand why they did it. But I think making Kimmler, like, the ghost character was really weird. In this, like, it's fine, like, he's a powerful necromancer, I guess it works, but Kimmler's thing is definitely all about whites, like, that is his focus. Like, Kimmler was quite literally designed so the way you would take him in tabletop is you would take him and Krell, and you stick them in a unit of Graveguard, and they gave them a lot of buffs, and they would also make them like last forever. Oh no, let's get that so I can start getting big boy techs. I would like the ability to get horned ones, please. Or at least cavalry. Yeah, I think Tic-Tac-Toe has this under control. Hopefully.
It is night. Yeah. By the great defender of truth.
I can't march through his lands without pissing him off, so I don't even want to bother, to be honest. Would I say he's a white supremacist? Sadly, he probably would be in, like, every way. Based on how shitty he is of a person. Would the Night Haunts and Tyranids not be too OP for fantasy? No, I mean, you just rewrite them to make sense in the universe. Because as they currently exist, they wouldn't really make sense. You would have to make some adjustments. What are the chances that we get Kian? Is that Quaylin or Kian cavalry for Cathay? I don't know what that is, unfortunately. Could you describe those? Breakerino, if you like Flesh Eater Courts, dude, you should absolutely be playing Age of Sigmar, because Flesh Eater Courts are fucking amazing. Which it's literally just Strigoi the faction. They're really good. They should be getting a new book in the coming months as well. I think they're getting a new book this spring. Yeah, they're a great army. They have a really cool aesthetic and they're really fun to play. Like, everyone I know who plays them really enjoys them. And they are by no means bad. The painting aspect seems daunting to me. I would just start small, man. Easiest way to make it where you aren't overwhelming yourself and you also don't spend a shitload of money and like bankrupt yourself and are like, oh, why is this hobby so expensive? Is buy a single thing and do not buy anything else until you paint that thing. You would be shocked how much control that gives you over the hobby. Like, and just start with like a single unit or a single character. And also we have this new, relatively new thing called contrast paints. Contrast paints are so much easier, dude. They are literally designed for beginner painters and they look really good. Braun Hammerfist, what the hell are you doing in my territory, sir? I'm gonna need you to get the hell out. We don't like your kind round these parts. You're too short. Short kings are not welcome in my lands. I'm going a little heavy on the Saurus. Would I rather Fishman or Bug Race? Oh, Fishman. Because Fishmen are already established. If you were going to do a Bug Race in fantasy, you'd have to basically create something from scratch. Like, literally the only notable bug monster that we know of that actually had an empire was the Sleeper. But the Sleeper is literally the last of her kind. So, like, you'd have to do a lot of stuff to get from a singular large ant queen monster to like an entire species. Still waiting on the old world to begin collection. Hopefully that'll be next year. Is that the one from Gotrek and Felix? Yeah, the Sleeper is from Gotrek and Felix, Orc Slayer. Greeting, would you by chance anything about the Dark Elf building units? I can't seem to find the Sirens and Bloodrack Shrines. Please, I'm new here. Okay, so Tion 511. First of all, do you have all of the DLCs? Because you might be missing a DLC. So like if you're looking for the Bloodrack Medusa and the Bloodrack Shrine,